Welcome back to the Mob Mentality Show. My name is Austin Chadwick, and we have a very special episode today for the Mob Mentality Show. As always, co-host is Chris Lucian, and we're going to be doing some mob programming live for all of you. And we have several excellent volunteers to be part of the mob, and you'll get to see them mob some Python on FizzBuzz. So we have Kenny, Art, Nestor, Paul, and Joseph, as you can see shared on the screen. And there's Paul giving the thumbs up. Without further ado, we're going to be doing FizzBuzz, and we'll be following, I guess there's many different ways to mob, but today we'll be doing kind of more of a strict navigation with Kenny at the wheel and Art navigating, and then the timer will tell him when it's time to switch. But without further ado, Kenny, please go ahead and click the Start Mobbing button, and Art, take it away.
All right, we're going to try a strict TDD approach. Did we talk about?
Yeah, that sounds great.
First of all, you had a running test, I think, Chris, from earlier. So is that correct, or are we? Okay. So for FizzBuzz, we didn't talk about it right now, but we want to be able to return a number, either 1, 2, 3, 4, and as soon as you get to numbers divisible by 5, it should be Fizz. If it's divisible by if it's divisible by 3, it's Fizz. Divisible by 5, it's Buzz. And if it's divisible by 15, it's FizzBuzz. So how about we start with a test, and let's see. We're going to need to do an assert. We're going to be able to pass. Let's just start with an easy case of sending through the number 1. So we're going to have to test sending 1. And sorry, I'm a little rusty with Python right now, so I may need some assistance on the syntax. So let's see. In our test case, we want to be able to send 1. And you would expect 1 to be returned, but let's see what happens when we run our test at this point. So we're going to do TDD and see if we can go red-green refactoring. So red meaning it fails, green meaning, okay, so it failed. So we know with the definition of FizzBuzz that we should be returning the number. If it's not divisible by 3 or 5, it should return that same number. So let's do the simplest possible thing at this point. So let's just return 1. So actually our assert should be asserting that we returned 1. So let's confirm on our assert equals. Can you look at the, you have expected and actual on our assert equal. So let's confirm which one is which. All right, let's go ahead and run that. All right, so we have, first let's confirm that we have the correct order for assert equal. So I don't know, in PyCharm, do we get the, Paul, you have a?
Yeah, I see assertion failed, but I don't know what's failing. Could we look at?
Yeah, so I want to see what the expected versus actual, which is the order of the parameters for assert equals. So if you could, okay, here we go. Self first, fail if the 2 as determined. Okay, so we're just testing the 2. So that tells us that production code to test is not returning the number 1. So go look at your production code to test function, Kenny.
Yep.
All right, so you can see why it's not returning 1, because look at the code. And so if you could make it return 1, let's start with that.
Okay.
And go ahead and run that. All right, one thing we can do, of course, is get rid of, well, I shouldn't say get, oh, okay. So now we're getting into some of the Python stuff.
Do you want, oh, am I allowed to make comments? I'm the driver.
Go for it.
Okay, we don't have a variable being passed in yet, but we're passing a variable in there.
Right,
we
so
don't
go ahead and receive that as well. And I did notice that, but I was going for the simplest possible thing. But let's go ahead and receive a number.
Oh, okay. Oh, are we out of time? What's
So,
that
So
mean?
we're switching.
so then I take over on the typing now.
Okay.
And I'm going to click on Control Mouse and Keyboard, and then Nestor navigates me.
Nestor, are you still with us?
I'm here. So I wasn't able to get it open. It's messing up on the multi-monitor display, but I can help talk through.
Sounds great.
So I think kind of where we left off is that we had to update this in order to take in a parameter, which looks like an integer.
And was there a hotkey for this? Oh, Control F5. I wonder if that works through any desk.
Okay, cool. So at this point, we're able to assert that something is equal to 1. So I think in order to continue on this, I think we wanted to maybe start writing the second test, which would be if we're doing the FizzBuzz, is if it's divisible by 3, it would type out fizz, I guess. So maybe we can start by writing that test and run it, see how that goes.
You said fizz here, right?
Yes.
Control F5.
So one IDE tip, Art, it is giving you output in the bottom part of the screen. If you scroll up, it'll show you more detailed output. Yeah, keep scrolling up. There you go. Yeah. So just give you a heads up there for anybody else. Yep.
Yeah, so it looks like it failed. So at this point, we know that we're actually missing some code here. So time to get back to the main function and start to implement that that code to get it passing. So I think this would be basically if, and it's the I don't know how to do it in Python, but the percentage 3 equals 0, I think is what it is. Number, yeah, it's divisible by 3 equals 0. Then at that point we return fizz, or we can say number equals fizz. However we want to do that. And will this work in Python? I don't know if it will update it within the compilation. I forget how that works in Python. I guess we could test it out.
Nestor,
Oops.
do you need a colon after the if statement?
Yeah, I was trying to type it, but someone was pressing a Windows key. Okay, that test passed.
Cool. So I guess the next piece is we can write that test and see, try the 5.
Still returning fizz.
So 5 at this point will return buzz.
I knew the answer to that. So, okay.
All right, and now we know we need to write that piece. It'll be similar to what we did above, except now it'll be if it's a 5. Then we'll return buzz.
I just want to highlight something that's happening in the chat. Someone named Chris Lucian, you may have heard of him, has repeated refactor a few times in here. So maybe that's a heads up to Paul. I think, Paul, you might know something about refactoring. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been very polite and biting my tongue, but boy, do I have questions.
I didn't get to it, but that's what I was going to do. I was about to get to the refactor piece. I wanted to get this done first too, but next person, right?
So let's make sure we've got passing tests.
Yeah, I think what everyone has done so far is fantastic. But yeah, take it away, Paul.
Okay, so on line 16, it's called test something, but it seems like we're testing everything. So we may want to rename that. We're testing all the FizzBuzz behavior in the single test, but let's go with that. But yeah, change that to test everything FizzBuzz. I have a question on 26 and 29. We're using different quotes. Why is that?
I started out with the double quotes and then realized I always like to go to the single quotes. I should
Okay.
have gone back to the single quotes. So,
Okay, let's just make it consistent then. Thanks.
good catch.
Let's run the test just to make sure that we're passing. I thought we were passing, but we're not. So we're refactoring on failing test. Not all arguments converted during string formatting. So go back up to the implementation.
Oh,
Go ahead. What is the O?
so the issue is on line 7, if the number is divisible by 3,
Okay.
we switch
So-
it to a string, and by
so
the
that-
time it gets to 9, it's a string.
Yeah. So that got to another thing that I wanted to refactor on line 5. Let's kill line 5. We don't need that print. Let's introduce a line between 4 and 5.
Mhm.
And let's call result equals number. And then change line 7 and 10 to be result instead of number.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then return result on line 12. Because we were assigning a string to a number and that was really hurting my brain.
Oh, look at that.
So let's try, okay, so they're passing again, so yay.
Nice.
So we refactored the test name. We've got some unnecessary stuff on line 17, so we might want to combine arrange and act. But I would change these to be separate tests, but we won't do that right now. But let's go ahead and finish out this thought then to put a new test assertion below line 28, just saying what happens for 15.
Yes.
It's going to be FizzBuzz. And the simplest thing to get something passing is go up to the production code and just mimic what we've done for 3 and 5 and 3.
You want red first? Oh, no, you got it. You got it.
Yeah. Go ahead and run that. I'm not convinced, but go ahead and run it. Yeah, so because we're cascading through, it's probably just converting it. So we have to do these in the right order. So you may want to put the 15 last right now. And then we'll refactor out the duplication. Okay.
Nice.
So another way you could have attacked that, though, could have been that you could have said return instead of
Yeah.
setting it to variable, and then it would have returned it right away, right?
Yeah, and what I'm looking at here is that we've got duplication of some logic and strings. So I'm wanting to
Yes.
tackle that next.
Yeah.
So if we say number mod 3 equals 0, can we do like result plus equals fizz? Oops.
All right, Paul, you are driving, and Joseph, you are up. Joseph, are you online?
I am here, but I'm not sure what I'm doing.
That's
Am I
just fine.
coding or?
So you are navigating. So you can, if you know what to do to the code yet, you can say, hey, Paul, do this on line 10. Or if you're not sure what to do, you can ask your mob for help, and they will help you out.
Okay. So what are we doing next then?
Yeah, and Joseph, I was just noticing that we've got duplication of like this expression here of number mod something equals 0. And then we've got duplication of fizz and buzz in those places.
I don't understand, so I guess
So-
I'm not.
I think I know where Paul's going with this. We can actually just concatenate, because when it's a 3, you add fizz, and
Yeah,
it'll hit that second line. It'll also be divisible by 5, and it'll just add buzz. So you just concatenate. You start with an empty string, and you just concatenate it. The other thing we can do is at the top, we can just see that most things won't, anything
Is
that
it a
won't be divisible
concatenate
by 3
function
or
in
5,
Python?
we just return automatically the number, and then after that, it hits 3, adds fizz. If it's still divisible, it'll add buzz, and then we return it. So that's another thing we can do.
I'm hearing
Nice.
different voices, so somebody talk the driver through this.
That's what I understand. So is Nestor the driver and I'm the co-pilot?
Yes, yes, you're the one telling Paul what to do. It is up to you at this moment. You heard some good feedback, but go ahead and navigate away.
Yeah, and so
So,
I'm the driver here. I'm on the keyboard.
oh, okay. Sorry, this is all new to me.
Okay.
So, instead of asserting that the result equals number, would we, sorry, Nestor, can you repeat what you said earlier?
So at this point, there's multiple ways to do it. So first, I think where Paul was going is that we can actually, since number just comes in, we can actually just return number right away if it isn't divisible by 3 or 5. And the other thing is if result is actually just a blank string, we can actually just start to concatenate fizz if it's divisible by 3. And if it's like a 15, it'll automatically also be divisible by 5. So then that would just concatenate buzz. That'll just return us FizzBuzz. So it'll kind of clean up the code a little bit and also kind of, get us out early because, I think most numbers will not be divisible by 3 or 5. So I think by doing that early return, just to return that number first and anything else, start with that empty string. And like I said,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I just put the guard clause on line 5 there, but I don't know how to do this in Python. So do I need parens around all this?
I think it's the literal word or instead of the,
Double pipe, yeah, try that.
Lowercase? Oh, it looks like it highlighted, so yeah. Still got a fizz not equal 3. Expected 3, but the actual was fizz. So did I get my logic wrong?
Number module 3 is not equal 0. Maybe it should be an and, not an or.
Yeah, that's where I was headed with
Oh
that.
yeah, the logic. That's correct.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay, baby steps. So now we know need to do this. And I'm just going to run the test because I get that quick feedback.
Do we need to initialize result to be an empty string then?
Doesn't look like it. The test's all passed.
Oh.
Or the assertion's all passed. And we've got about 10 seconds of me on the keyboard. So I think where we were headed next is to do concatenation here.
Yeah, then we can get rid of line 14 and 15 if we just concatenate
Okay.
the
Oops.
string.
All right, Joseph, you are up. Can you, click continue. And Kenny, you are the navigator. Welcome to the navigator seat.
Okay.
You're welcome to ask questions or navigate away and tell them what to do.
Okay. So we're at passing now. We duck out early if it's divisible by 3 or 5. We do 3. Okay, so let's go to, result. All right. So in the case in which it is divisible by 5, but not by 3, so in line 11.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. If we try to concatenate result with buzz, we're going to get an error. So we are going to want to initialize result before. So on line 7, why don't we set result equal to what, just empty string?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And
Like,
then,
do like a colon or something?
just result equals quote, quote.
That's error free right now.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to look at the, my two screens are out of sync. I'm not sure which, okay. I'm looking at the right one now. Okay. Then let's go ahead and on line 16, we will do result equals result plus buzz.
Like result equals result plus buzz. Like that, or actually inside the if?
Oh, wait, I am so confused. The screens are, okay.
Yeah, maybe just look at your AnyDesk session only.
Yeah, so did we just get rid of result, what was line 7, result equals quote. Did we?
No,
I
it's
didn't.
still there.
Okay. So I don't see it. Oh my goodness.
Oh, is your AnyDesk, are you like in pan and zoom mode with AnyDesk?
I don't know. It's okay. I'm seeing on Zoom line 16 says result equals result plus buzz.
Maybe there's a bit of a delay because I just added a couple of lines to see
Yeah, there's
refresh, and now that's line 18.
Yeah, it's line 18, right?
yeah.
So maybe he's experiencing some kind of delay.
Yeah, there's something weird. I feel like I'm going blind.
This is very
driving
realistic,
blind.
folks. Remote mobbing.
Oh boy.
Connections.
Yeah, it feels like the AnyDesk is about 20 seconds delayed.
Wow.
Can I refresh it?
Ooh.
I've never used AnyDesk, so I just downloaded it right now.
So Paul, you warned us about this.
I'm
right.
just sitting here taking it in.
Okay, since I am blind, can anyone tell me what is the line that follows the if statement? If number %5.
So
Let's
if
see.
number modulo 5 logically equal to 0, then result equals buzz.
Yes.
If number modulo 15 equals 0, result is FizzBuzz. And then result equals result plus buzz.
Okay, so that's line 18. What you have on line 18, copy that.
It just
And-
kicked me out to
Oh.
change any
So
number.
Kenny, you're
Okay.
on the keyboard now.
I'm
Kenny.
on the keyboard, so I can do whatever I want. No.
Nope.
No. So I'm getting a faster response, so hopefully it can help you. First, you have to click on continue, though.
Okay. See,
Assuming that you
I don't
see it.
see the continue yet on AnyDesk.
All right.
I'm going to drive for Kenny right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, so the first thing is we wanted to do concatenation, and we're doing that on 18, but we really need to move that to line 14. So we're
That's
gonna
what I was
replace
trying to say.
Yeah, and we can now get rid of 16 and 17 because now we're handling the fizz and the buzz on that. So if you could run that test, see how we're doing. All right, we're passing. I had put into the chat what Paul reminded us of before, that we have functionality that is duplicated in 4 different places, twice on line 5, once on line 10, once on line 13. And that functionality looks like a new function that could be something like is divisible by. And we would pass a number and it would come back with a true or false, or whatever it's called in Python, a Boolean. So is there a way we can refactor or extract into a method some of that code? For example, if you take on line 10, yeah, the input. So do you want to create a new function for that? And we could set that up on 2.5, or do we have a refactor to extract to a method? Thank you.
Yeah, driver, you may want to extract 11 or 14 so we don't have that negation in the middle.
Right, use the positive logic. Thank you. That's so one of those.
Oh. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. And what he's doing is he's doing a extract variable, refactor to extract a method, and then he'll inline the variable again.
So it looks like PyCharm might not have the ability to extract to a new method directly, but that's all right. And now, before you call that method, could you rename it to divisible, divisible?
I've mobbed with Art enough to know he's got a keen eye for spelling.
Real-time spell checking here. Or do a rename after the fact.
Did we break the world, I wonder? Oh, you're doing the spell check.
Oh, it didn't actually rename. Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Yeah,
Now I got the delay. All right, so we need to call that is divisible by on both line 16 and then in line 8 twice.
Very nice. Just as a facilitator's note, the session does end in about 14 minutes. So after Art is done navigating, the next navigator will be the last navigator, and then we will pause for a retrospective before we close out the session. All right, we're still in the green.
I remember doing this, helping a fellow at a JavaScript meetup, and purposely let him try the 15 case at the end so that it would fail, so that he'd understand the order of events.
All right, Art, you're up, and Nestor, you get the last navigation of the day. What would you like to do, sir? Is Nestor still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Right on.
So I like where Art was going. I guess if you want to continue by finishing up your thought there, but yeah, I think you guys finished the is divisible by. We had the negation there. Yeah, do that piece.
Oops, he jumped on me. I guess that's not the not symbol, and is it NOT?
yeah, it seems like a good guess.
Yes, no, yeah, not the word not is the.
Oop. So failing, I'm gonna guess on this.
Oh,
Can you look at the assertion message?
Yeah, is that what you want to look back up
Yeah.
here? Or positional number one parameter? Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, you have to send both.
I still think that's the hardest thing as a programmer is to listen to what the computer's telling me.
Right. All right, and then I guess we do the same thing for the second piece. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with it. I don't.
I had a question on line, if you could scroll up a little bit. On line 4, I don't think input is the best name for that parameter.
What would you like to call it instead?
Divisor?
Divisor?
Yeah.
Rename.
Also, can you try it with taking the parentheses away from the not? Yeah, I don't think you need. Yeah.
I mean, besides this, the other thing I would do is just make it more resilient. I mean, at the top of it, you know, before you even jump in there, make sure it's a number. So you can do things like that, like on line 9, you know, just depending on how that works. Just
Yeah, we should write a test for that though.
yeah. So first start with a test, seeing what happens if you don't pass something that's a number. And then, you know, secondly, we'd do something to go ahead and catch that.
well, maybe what you could do is, here's an example of code by intent, since you only have 50 seconds. Maybe in a comment, say what you would do next. It'll unlikely to complete in 44 seconds.
Yeah, and probably start thinking about testing that as a separate behavior.
Yeah, and to end green, maybe comment out your next 2 lines. Yeah. because it always feels nicer to end green, right? It feels like ending with in a happy place.
Never end green. You always want to remember where you were in the morning.
Oh, that's not fun. That doesn't feel nice. Okay, yeah, end red.
Except if you're at a conference like this, right? And you want to include.
You'll remember the session more if you end red.
All right. I guess that's the last thing we'll do is, Chris, can you drive for Nestor and make us end red? You pessimist, you, Chris.
you red ender, you.
Yep. Now we know what to do next time when we start working on this again.
Well, except the assertion on line 42 is not right.
Ah.
Yeah, what should it be? Invalid.
Yeah, invalid is
Good.
invalid's better but vague. Invalid input : X is really clear.
And would you even put in parentheses should be a number or something like that? Yeah.
And it should be a number from 1 to 100 according to the rules I saw earlier.
Oh, so you wanted some feedback also on one other test, perhaps?
Well, I'm going to stop us there if that's okay.
Okay. Yep.
We can keep going all day, and I love it. There's sort of fantastic ideas. I've even seen suggestions in the chat like, "Hey, we need to refactor the tests," and they're citizens as well of this code
And
base.
Chris, is that failing for the right reason?
Yeah, we can double check that right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a type error. Even.
Yes, I don't think it is, but that's okay.
That's okay. At least it tells us what line number is causing the madness at the very least. So very good. So what I'd like to do here is, I don't think we'll have time before the end of this open space session to do a kind of sticky retro, but what we can go around is, and for each person in the mob, we can kind of do a fun, done, learn. Happy, sad, but went well, but didn't go well. Any feedback you'd like to share? I guess I'll kick us off and say thank you so much, everybody. You guys did really, really well. And obviously, and it takes a lot to put yourself out there. It takes a lot of psychological safety to make suggestions and do things. And I want to give a special shout out to Kenny, who experienced technical difficulties, which does happen during mobbing. So if I were on your mob, Kenny, we would solve those first and foremost. You had a seamless experience. But
Yep.
So maybe I'll kick
Fair
it
enough.
Yeah, I'll kick it to Paul. Any thoughts of reflection?
Yeah, so any desk wasn't as bad as I remember. Python wasn't as bad as I remember. And it was interesting to let the mob go where they were headed, because I definitely have ways of approaching it, but it's always good to see different approaches.
Right on. How about you, Kenny?
Sorry, on mute. Yeah, no, it was interesting to see how things resolved themselves, because like we all know there's 100 ways to solve this problem, but yeah, I mean, there's always the jokes about building things by committee, but it works, I guess.
Nice. Cool, right on. Let's head on over to Art.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I love the fact that we were eliminating redundancy by reducing the duplication, by separating out into functions. The only other thought I was thinking was if we could run that loop from 1 to 100, test all our numbers, make sure that's all working. But other than that, and getting better names too. So obviously we can continue to refine further. And excellent point again, Paul, about creating the separate tests so that we're testing only one thing at a time in each of our tests. So again, that collaboration and insights from the mob. So thank you.
Nice. Before I go, I guess go ahead, Paul, before we go to Joseph.
Yeah, if I can continue here. One thing to notice is that we've got this word something there, and because we've been copying and pasting, it's like propagated itself all throughout the code base. We didn't tackle it when it was a initial germ of an idea.
Yeah,
well, that's the beauty of renaming. It'll just catch them all. So
Nice.
Sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Yes, yes. Dirty code does propagate very quickly. Yeah, yes. Joseph, how was that for you?
It was interesting to experience it. Is AnyDesk like just for mob programming, or is it something else that you guys took to use for this?
Yeah, AnyDesk, it's been around a while. It's just for sharing a remote computer in general. Go ahead,
Similar
Chris.
to TeamViewer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So
I
then-
encountered it more in the operations world where you would want to go to a computer that's not in front of you.
What's actually handling the switching between users then? Is that Mobster, or
That is Mobster, yes.
so is that something you guys wrote, or it's an open source project?
It's an open source project by Dylan Kearns, and there's many variations on it. And so I think, what was it? I think 8 or 9 years ago, I wrote the first version in .NET, and then many open source projects kind of propagated from that. But it's meant to. The original story is that we used to use a kitchen timer, and there were people in the office that were upset about the kitchen timer, but we couldn't go without the kitchen timer because people wouldn't let go of the keyword when it was time to switch. And so we wanted a silent way to prevent people from continuing the work, which is how the timer came to be. Mobster is probably the best one, in my opinion, that's out there right now. It also integrates with the mob programming RPG, but then there's also the remote one for mob, which is a timer that uses Git to check in and check out and allows people to use their own computer with their own IDE, which is also a really interesting concept.
Okay, so you basically just run it on whatever system is hosting the shared environment?
Yeah, so you could have completely distributed, which is the mob tool, which comes from the remote mob programming guys. Or there are a number of timers that block the screen, or a command line timer, if you think that was written at Pluralsight. So there's quite a bit out there.
So all the handling of switching driver or Copilot, that was actually all done in Mobster then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
that was on the remote machine.
It's definitely a neat idea. I might try it with Nestor since we both work at the same company.
Nice.
You know, the only thing I can think of is if there's a way to maybe, you know, look at the latency and, you know, only have people that are, you know, similar latency working together or something, since it was kind of rough.
Like Austin said, I mean, that would be the very first thing that the mob tried to figure out in a normal environment. So where we work, I think we've never seen that problem before.
Okay.
So this is something new to the conference, new to us from the conference, but we also have mobs using TeamViewer, not just AnyDesk. So, you know, both are licensed products for commercial use. So just be aware of that. But they're both really great tools. And you just need to get it to the point where you have latency and stuff figured out. And then it's kind of like being together at the same location.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'll highlight one thing, which was basically the spirit of Paul's session before this one at the Open Space SoCal, which was experiment, inspect, adapt, figure out which works for your team, your mob, and so as Paul was noting before, he had trouble with AnyDesk before, so he's using other tools, and so that is completely fine, and that goes for pretty much everything with mobbing. Before we close out, we still haven't heard from Nestor. How was that for you? How was this session?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I love the fact that you can work on a single context with everybody. Usually what ends up happening is you work on something on your own. When you're done, you put it out there for other people to review, and then you switch context, start doing something else, and then somebody sends it back to you, and your mind is just somewhere completely different. Who knows how long it'll be until you get back to it. When you get back to it, you're already thinking about your new problem. So I just love the fact, let's all get in there, let's get this finished, let's get it deployed, and let's start on the new thing.
Fantastic insight, because and I think this relates just to like code reviews or not. Like if you mob, right, then you need code reviews less or not at all. And what's fantastic about it is the queuing time. Just like you said, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of effort to remember what you were doing and why you might not want to rename something at the time, or whatever. But refactoring becomes much more naturally in a mob, I think.
Yeah, I've had code reviews that were like 4 months later. I'm like, even a week later is too much for me. So.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, in light of time and being respectful to the next session in this remote room, we'll go ahead and close it out. So thank you for being part of the Mob Mentality Show. Please like and subscribe and share this episode. You think anybody would find valuable to see what it's like to work in a mob programming team. And then I'll say that this was a toy problem with FizzBuzz. But for those who full-time mob like Art and Chris and Paul even, it's pretty much the same experience with product code. It's just, yeah, you're looking at a little bit more code than we were looking at today. So
yeah, and I would just kind of say that like this group of people never mobbed together before. So this was kind of like really kind of what it looks like from day to day for anybody that's mobbing full time.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Bye everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.